Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Wednesday in the Rib and the last day of 2025.
Yes, it is.
We have a few people. It's James. Happy New Year. Happy New Year's Eve day. And but we're here to celebrate the passing of another year. Uh, Hopefully next year will be better, but then again, I'm not an optimist, so I'm not holding out.
It's interesting. I met with my doctor this week, and as a matter of fact, yesterday, and I wished him a happy 2026, and I said, hopefully next year will be better, and he said, fat ass.
Well, it is what it is, but I'm not too optimistic about. Like I said, well, let's see what happens. I guess we will. I did get an invitation to the swearing in ceremony, which I won't attend, but I never do.
Hey, but did you notice it's Monday at 4:30 in the afternoon?
Yeah, I
What,
did.
these fucking lazy bastards can't get
I
out of
did.
their bed in the morning? Oh no, I've got a job. I'm retired, but I can't do it. Bullshit.
Well,
It's always been held at 10 o'clock in the morning. Now we have to cater it
yeah.
to
Well,
select individuals.
listen. It's a
So
situation
does
again
that
where
mean for the rest of does that mean until 4:30 in the afternoon we don't have a government in Fall River?
well, we don't have a government in Fall River at any time of the day.
Exactly.
I think it's. I did notice it before I shredded it. I threw the invitation in the shredder, and I did notice the time, but it's irrelevant because I don't go anyway. But yeah, we're seeing. Let's hope the new year is a better year for them. I know on a national level they're really cracking down on the fraud. They got Minnesota, now they're going to go to Ohio. They go. Well, there's fraud rampant throughout the government, and
Yeah,
we know
but
that.
did you notice in Minnesota that wasn't found by Legacy News? It wasn't found by ABC, CBS, NBC, PBS, CNN, Fox. No, who was it found by? It was found by a guy like you and I.
A podcaster.
That's right. Found by a guy like you and I. Okay, that stay involved in this shit.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is why I say every year I feel like I gotta walk away, but then this guy here found all of this fraud in Minnesota, and I said that's what it's all about. That's why I'm still here. And
No,
here's
you're
the thing.
right.
Did you notice Minnesota's already saying, "Oh, we closed those places down before that happened,"
Which is a lie.
which is bullshit.
Which
Yeah,
is a lie.
right.
Uh, I agree, James. I agree with
Yeah,
you.
you're right, James. You're right. No question about it.
Yeah. Yeah, but that podcaster revealed tremendous fraud. But you know what has been revealed more? How much the government wants to cover up the fraud because all their friends are making money on it. In Minnesota, and of course, what do they do? Oh, it's because they were Somalians. No, it isn't. It's because they stole $9 billion. They showed the kid going to a thing, and he said, I want to register my son, and they slammed the door in his face. There was nobody in the place. He went to another place that they misspelled learning. They had leering. They forgot the N. I guess in Somalia, there's no N's. I don't know. But they forgot the N in learning. I mean, hey, John, Happy New Year. But he exposed all this fraud. There's fraud throughout the government. But the reality is both parties don't want to fix it. They've known about it for years. I saw a couple of interviews where they talked about knowing about this kind of stuff throughout the country. They said, you think this is bad, you should see the Medicaid fraud that they're aware of, but they won't stop it because they're part of it. They're part of the swamp. This is the problem. And we know there's all kinds of problems down in this city, and nobody will look at them. Nobody's going to do a forensic audit. Now, Kadeem, as James said, wants to take away any oversight, even though they normally circumvented it. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. But there's always, you notice when the Democrats start whining, there's always a deflection. It's never about the issue. Oh, we don't care about the $9 billion that was stolen from the taxpayers, all the taxpayers, because some of that was federal money, some of it was state money. Oh, we don't care about the $9 billion. It's because you're picking on the brown people. No, you're not. You're picking on people who stole $9 billion. It doesn't care. I don't care what color they are. That's the BS again. The Democrats always spin everything, and they get away from the actual problem. And now, did you see California? They tried to sue the federal government for the bullet train that they spent $18 million on for 17 years, and there's not 1 inch, not foot, inch of track that has been laid. There's nothing but dirt piles where they were going to build it. And now it was announced yesterday that California has dropped the suit against the
I was going to say, on what grounds did California have to file the suit?
I think
what was their wonderful thought that they were going to file a suit against the federal government? What did they think? That because they started the project, the federal government has to pay for it?
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
We only blew $18 million and haven't done anything yet in 17 years.
Right.
Don't come and audit us until we've blown $1 billion. After we blew $1 billion, then you can come in and we can go like we did in San Francisco when they lost $24 million for homelessness. And the people who ran the program said, we don't know where the money went. They said, well, who does? You're running a program, but we don't know. We're going to have to check into it. Really? 24 million. I mean, this is the government. It's outrageous. I mean, what's happening here?
That sounds like what's her name, Emily from the city. I don't know, but I'll get back to you on that number.
Yeah, I'll get back to you. But, I mean, when you look at it, it's just so insane when they start with this crap, because they use every kind of excuse for all their nut house projects. That's probably very possible. And that's one of the places I saw a senator on yesterday getting interviewed. He said they've been looking at this for 8 years, but that's the problem. They can't do anything about it because most of the senators are involved. Most of the congressmen are involved in this stuff. Ilhan Omar is involved in that stuff in Minnesota. And they go, oh, you're picking on this one, you're picking on that one. The Democrats can never just take responsibility for anything. I read an article. You know how the Democrats are always about trans athletes. You could shut up, just compete against men. No, you're right. You're right, John. I mean, no one is ever held accountable.
That's right.
And because if they hold them accountable, they'll turn around and hold them accountable, and they'll all end up in jail because they're fundamentally all criminals. But I saw a comical one. Somebody sent me it. and it was about trans sports. I guess some libtard made a video saying, "Oh, shut up, all you women who can't compete against trans athletes. You just suck. That's why you can't compete." Now tell me, I mean, you're a PhD in nursing. Men are physiologically different than women. I know that. I taught martial arts and boxing and trained men and women. Fact is, a woman is not physiologically.
The
Maybe.
bottom line is this. I don't care what you lop off. I don't care what hormones you take. I don't care how you identify as it, them, they, you, she, what. I don't care. Okay? Genetically, if I do a genetic test on you, it's going to say you're a man or a woman.
And you are physiologically different.
That's right.
You have more muscle mass. You have a higher. I'm pulling it up right now on this thing because this is outrageous. I showed. So this is what happened. This guy named Nick Kyrgios, who I never heard of, and I used to play tennis a lot, but is ranked. This came after the woman who said you don't want to compete against trans because you suck. No, it's not because you suck. You put a 135-pound woman boxer in with a 135-pound man, she'll get killed. She'll get hit with a couple of right hands, and she'll have a brain aneurysm, and she'll die. Look at the Olympic weightlifting. The smallest man in an Olympic weightlifting competition lifts more than the biggest female in the heaviest division. This is the one that killed me. People are furious because Nick Kyrgios demolishes Arina Sabalenka, the number one ranked woman in the world. He destroyed her. Now here's the kick. Here's what shows how classic this is. This guy has not played tennis in 2 years. He was out with an injury, and he is ranked 671st in the world. That means there are 670 people better than him that are men on the pro tour. And as John McEnroe once said, probably the best high school player in the country could beat the number one woman in the world. Why? Not because they can hit the ball better, they have better technique. No, because they're physically stronger. They will overpower them. But that's the Democrats. They're outraged. They're saying that they have devalued women. Who devalued women? The Democrats. They're the ones who say, shut up, you just suck. Compete against a man. They've eliminated fundamentally women's sports. If they truly don't want to devalue women, let's not have women's sports. Let's have sports. You know why we just don't have sports? Because we want to give women an opportunity to be able to compete in athletics. And they deserve it. But they should compete against people that they can compete against. Not throw men in there, because I don't care. Look at the Penn State swimmer. He was ranked like 280th or 300 and something. He sucked when he swam on a male's team. He was lapping the best women in the swim meets. I mean, but this is the Democrats. Yeah, get a city contract and have no finance. No, it's political science. That does a lot to do with it. That's yeah. No, it is a joke. The city's become a joke, James. You're right. It's an absolute horror show. Coogan was an incompetent in the school department, and he brought that incompetence and elevated it to a level never seen before. And saying that in Fall River is a real bold statement, but it's true. And CJ and I have been involved in Fall River politics for a very, very long time.
Too long.
I have seen some, too long, I think, sometimes. But I can tell you something. I have seen some real incompetent boobs that worked for this city. But I have never seen the clown
Seth
show
Akins.
that we have now. And now they're totally, because it's like, it's so corrupt, they don't care. They don't even make any bones about it. You know, Kadeem gets on there and says, look, give me a blank check. You know, and it kills me. Look at the state. We're not going to be audited. We refuse to be audited. Screw you. We know, you know we're stealing. We know we're stealing, but we're not going to let you prove it because we're going to tell you you can't audit us. Over 70% of the people wanted that audit. All I can say is, if you guys know anybody in these other communities, get them together. Let's all get together, throw in $20 a piece. We'll have enough money to go to the Supreme Court, and we'll make them get an audit because, as I read on the last show, the Constitution of this Commonwealth is clear. All three branches of government are at all times answerable and accountable to the people. I don't give a shit what Mike Roderick said. Mike Roderick is full of shit. Oh,
he's not a lawyer. He's not a lawyer.
One branch of government. Yeah, but he swore an oath to the Constitution. You think he could read it?
Hey, they're gonna be swearing an oath on Monday. You know what they're saying? F you, F you, F you, F you, F you, I swear. That's what they're gonna say.
Well, like
that's what they're
saying. The Constitution is pretty clear because they define the three branches of government in that sentence, and I read it verbatim. It said all three branches, and it stipulated all the three branches, even though we do not have a judicial branch in Fall River, but we do have a judicial branch in Massachusetts. And he said, well, one branch of government can't audit another branch of government. Yeah, but the people can demand an audit, and we did. So there you go, Mike, you're wrong. And he'll say, well, I wasn't talking about that. Well, why don't you talk about that? You're supposed to be our elected representative and said we're answerable. You should be pushing for that audit. You should be pushing for that audit.
Of course he's not.
Not trying to bury it.
Of course he's not. His friends, all his friends that got no big contracts are going to be exposed. And let me tell you something. It doesn't get any better. It's just worse. Stevie B, I don't know where he is this morning. Wherever you are, Stevie.
Probably
thanks for the video. I watched it. Sent me a video of a former migrant. You'll notice they're using the term migrant. Migrant homeless shelter. And he said it was the worst job he ever took in his life. And Maura Healey should be serving life in prison. Okay? This is a guy who is making money off of Maura Healey's illegal actions.
Yeah. Well, you know, and this is the problem from the top, from the federal government, the top of the food chain down to the city of Fall River, they will not be accountable. They say they're superior. And like I pulled it up again just to make sure that I want to read it again. It says, well, first in Article 4 of part of the first says, the people of the Commonwealth have the sole and exclusive right of governing themselves as a free, sovereign, and independent state. That's us. We have the right to govern ourselves, and that's what we're supposed to do. Then Article 5 says, all power originally residing in the people, that's us, in case you guys know it, and being derived from them, the several magistrates and officers of government vested with authority, and here it comes, everybody, fasten your seatbelts, Mike, Carol, Alan, and the guy from Westport, I don't know his first name, Willett, I think is his last name. Listen to this. Because in a couple of days, you're going to be raising your right hand and saying, I swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And this is exactly what it says. Whether legislative, executive, or judicial. That's all three, Mike. That's all three, Carol. That's all three, Alan. And all three. Willett from Westport, I apologize for not knowing your first name. I don't care because I'm not from Westport. Okay? Now, whether legislative, executive, or judicial are their substitutes and agents and are at all times accountable to them. And what's more accountability than an audit? Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. Well, I mean, look, but James, you're right on target. But the thing is, you know the old saying. Rick never read that one. It said, "If you're an idiot, keep your mouth shut, because if you open your mouth, you may remove all doubt." And with that, he did. Like you said, he removed all doubt. Oh yeah, and she was crowing about HDIP again. HDIP doesn't do anything for people who need affordable housing in this area.
That's right. That's right.
She was talking about how HDIP, they all got the cure to the problem. Remember, Tim Walsh also did, when he was running for vice president during a debate, talked about how great he had done with opening up child care centers in Minnesota, and they were going to show the rest of the country how to do it. Yeah, open up child care centers with no children in them and pay the people who run them billions of dollars, and then they send it back to Al-Shabaab in Somalia, a terrorist group.
Hey, I have to break in here. Currently, the governor and the legislators, the Senate and the House, are exempt from public records law. This is what they're using for the separation of powers, why they can't be audited. As of right now, currently, 89,013 signatures have been certified for the 2026 ballot that would subject legislature and governor's office to Massachusetts public records law.
Yeah.
89,000 people.
And it'll pass, and he'll ignore it again.
Of course.
They ignore the vote about the dip. They'll figure out a way to freaking say no. They said no when we said we wanted to elect judges. They said no when we said we didn't want a sales tax. Even though
they said no when we wanted the death penalty.
Listen, I hate to tell the 89,000 people, we got to get a hold. CAG's got to get a hold of those other cities that had signed this, because I'll tell you what, there's only one way to cure this problem. Take it to the Supreme Court of the United States or the Supreme Court of Massachusetts.
Nah, the Supreme Court of Massachusetts is in the tank. All appointees of the governor in the tank.
You're right. But the thing is, then you take it to the Supreme Judicial Court, and the Supreme Judicial Court of the United States will tell them, this is what it says. I mean, you don't have to be a jurist. You don't have to be a Supreme Court judge to read the language. It says they're answerable to us at all times, every branch. Don't give me that horseshit. It's just like we used to vote on their pay raise. What did they do? They changed the law. They give themselves a pay raise now.
That's
they
right.
Threw a couple of them out. These people are nothing but corrupt bums. You should never keep anybody in office more than 2 to 3 terms max. If it's a 2-year term, maybe give them 3 terms. But if it's a 6-year term, it should be like 1. And that's it. Nobody should be in politics for more than 6 years.
It should not be a career.
It should not be a career. These people are criminals from Washington, D.C. down to the city of Fall River. They're nothing but crooks. They thumb their nose at you, and the voters will not come out and vote them out. And that's the problem. But the only way you're ever going to fix this is go to the Supreme Judicial Court. And they come up with any kind of legal interpretation. They're not subject to the Public Records Act. Well, guess what? You don't need a public records request to do an audit. You request the numbers. There's a statutory audit in the law every year of every city and town in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. There's also a statute in the law that says the healthcare system has to be audited annually. And I can read it to you. It's in Chapter 32B. They did an audit every year, and I found out that they had never done an audit when we took them to arbitration, and we found out they robbed all our money. And we got it back, and we got free Blue Cross and premium reductions for a year. And but they're a bunch of crooks. The only way you can ever get them is audit them, like they're doing in Minnesota now. DHS is up there, everybody's up there, the FBI is up there. Now the next thing, but it's throughout the country. As James said, there's a giant Medicare fraud. I saw a senator on last night complaining about Medicare and Medicaid. He said, you should see.
Actually, James, the people voted for term limits.
They did.
The legislature went to the League of Women Voters to take it to the SJC, who turned around and said, if you want term limits, you need to make it a constitutional amendment. And the attorney for the people said, how are they supposed to do that? Well, elect people that are going to do it. That's the problem. Who's going to vote against their own job? Yeah. Nobody.
And all they do is cover their ass.
And that's why I say the Supreme Judicial Court is in the tank for the governor and the politicians.
Well, the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court.
Yes.
You know, that's why you got to go to the United States Supreme Court. That's why all of these major issues end up in the Supreme Judicial Court of the United States. At least you got a half a chance up there because they don't give a shit about Massachusetts politics.
That's right.
But the problem is that, look, this is outrageous. The whole country is nothing more than a giant fraud pit. I mean, you can't let politicians get near anything. Look at these people. Look at the money they've made. Ilhan Omar didn't have two nickels to rub together when she came to the United States. She's worth like $564 million, $500 million already. She's part of that scheme, but they always cry. It's always not about the fact that they robbed the money. Oh, don't talk about them robbing the money. They're brown people. They're black people. You're picking on them. No, I'm not. If they were white people that stole it, we still say you're not supposed to steal $9 billion. If they're yellow people, they're not supposed to steal. You're not supposed to do it. But that's their fallback position. Oh, shut up. We want to do all the radical positions that men are not men if they declare themselves women, and let them destroy women's sports, but then we'll complain when a man destroys a woman and saying they're demeaning women in women's sports. No, you're demeaning women's sports by saying you can let people go in there and dominate a sport that whether they got their Johnson or not, they're still males. I mean, if you do the test, you know, the chromosomes are there. I'm sorry. They haven't figured out how to change your chromosomes yet, have they, CJ? Unless there's some breakthrough.
I don't think they've advanced that far with CRISPR.
So, it is what it is. But these people, I mean, this is a travesty. And you know something? It's really good that this happened now before the 26 midterms, because people got to pay attention. I mean, this country is so full of fraud. Forget about the overseas NGOs and stuff like that Doge. You wonder why they hate Trump so much? You wonder why they hated Elon Musk so much? They were the ones who began to pull the curtain back on this. And this kid, this podcaster, this 20-some-year-old kid who's gone to the riots up in Minnesota and stuff, he's a tenacious kid. I mean, he went to him, and they had a guy with him that went to 40 or 50 of these places and never saw a child in one of them. And what does Tampon Tim say? Oh, I've been investigating this for years. Yeah, but you didn't do anything about it. You've been investigating.
And then when the videos went live, he turned around and said, "We closed some of those places already."
Yeah. Well, you know what I like about Minnesota? They're so full of shit. It's all about their political base. You got the mayor You got the mayor and a lieutenant governor wearing hijabs with the Somalis saying, "Don't pick on the Somalis. Let them steal $9 million of your dollars. Shut up. They're up there. That's our voting base. We can't get in without the Somalis." There's only one thing these people give a damn about, and that's getting reelected.
That's it.
That's all they care about. Anybody that tells you they give a shit about you is lying.
That's right.
Sorry. And
in Minnesota, they are not the Democrats. They are the Democratic Farm Party. Remember that. They're the Democratic Farm Party.
So we're
just like in New York, they're the Socialist Democrats.
Listen, what they are is crazy. But the thing is, who's to blame? We're going to start the new year tomorrow, and let's start it by placing the blame squarely on whose fault it is, the voters. They don't vote these idiots out. No, you're right. No, it's not supposed to be like that. It's not supposed to be like that, James. And unfortunately, they've polluted the system. You know why? Because they've allowed lifetime positions. They become a career. When these judges get appointed, they're there for life. You can't get them out.
That's why I have always said I support the election of judges.
Absolutely.
Okay? This way, if they don't do what we want, we get rid of them. Now, the League of Defense Counsel, that's lawyers that just handle defenses, don't want that because they know the judges will be stricter on sentencing.
That's right.
And they won't be able to cut their cushy deals to get sex offenders convicted 7 times on the streets.
Yep. 49 arrests, and they're out there stabbing people. And,
that's right.
Listen, it's pretty simple. It's not a difficult equation. Once, when Washington became the first president of the United States, they wanted to make him king, and he said, "I don't want to be a king. We just got rid of a king. I'm here to I'm here to serve the public, and then I'm going to go back to my farm and go back into the real world." And they did that for years. Once politics, you said it at the beginning of the show, once politics became a career, it was the beginning of the end. And now what they've done is, Thomas Jefferson said it back when he was president, and when he was signed the Declaration, he said, when a government becomes powerful enough to give you everything you need, it will be powerful enough to take everything you have.
That's right.
And that's what they've done.
One of our viewers just sent me this. Democrats hired 87,000 IRS agents to go after the American taxpayer.
Yep.
Republicans hired 20,000 ICE agents to go after criminal, illegal alien freeloaders who steal billions of American tax dollars.
That's right, and the Democrats are complaining about that.
That's right.
There you go. As Jefferson said, once they get there.
I got the haircut, not you, Chip.
Oh, come on, Fatima. You didn't see I cut my hair today? Come on. Look at how nice and shiny it is. I cut my hair every couple of days. But Jefferson was right. Once these guys became career politicians, we gave them the power. The Democrats have spent the next 150 years saying, we'll give you shit for free, but taking all the power away from you. Like now, they refuse. They refuse to have an audit. They should be advocating for an audit. The people want an audit. Let's open the books for them to show them how honest we are. I don't know. It seems logical to me, doesn't it?
Makes perfect sense to me.
I mean, if I had nothing to hide, I'd say, go ahead, look at my books. Our politicians go up there and they pontificate. Oh, we're doing so much good for you people and shit. They're raping everybody. They're sweetheart deals, no bid contracts, insider trading. We had a state rep from down here. Yeah, you too, Gene. Happy New Year. We had a state rep that got elected when he bounced Long out after 30 some years up there, and he was in office for 2 terms. And then Eddie Lambert ran against him. And Eddie Lambert, you know how Eddie Lambert won? He won because he did an audit of the guy. The guy used to sell, he was a clothing salesman at Sawyer's Men's Shop. Didn't have a lot of money. After 2 terms in Boston, he was a millionaire. And he had all the records to prove it. Brought all kinds of properties, got all kinds of nice loans, got all kinds of things. And he was an extremely wealthy man. Not on his salary either, because that was a very long time ago. And they weren't making a hell of a lot of money in those days. But in 2 terms, the guy became a millionaire. Jefferson, those guys were, I mean, I just can't, it boggles my mind how perceptive they were to write
You know,
the things
what's interesting is
250 years ago.
What's interesting is Washington, Jefferson, Adams, all those founding fathers served a term as president of the United States. And when their term was over, they went back to their farms and plantations. They didn't have Secret Service with them. They didn't have extra hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in pension from when they were president. No, they went back. As a matter of fact, most revolutionaries were poor and died in debtor's prison. So the people who fought for the freedom of this country were rewarded by being made rich to poor. And nobody gave a shit. This is what happens. This is what happens. Jefferson was right.
They were all right. Like I say, that's why it is absolutely stunning. And do you realize that only 3%, it shows that a small group can do it if they really, and get the rest of the people involved. Only 3% of the population of the United States, at the time it wasn't the United States, but of the colonies, were in favor of rebelling against Britain. 3%. But they started a revolution. Just goes to show that if you got the wherewithal, you can do it. And those forefathers of ours were brilliant, brilliant men to foresee the future and say, if you make us too powerful, we'll take everything you got. Jefferson said that. Don't give us that. Don't become freeloaders. Like CJ said, they all went back to work. Don't be freeloaders. You start a freeloader society, and they will let you get as powerful as you want as long as you give them free shit. They knew that. There was no welfare.
Well, look at what happened when the government was closed down. They didn't have the money in the food stamp program. Yeah. They ran and sued. They filed a lawsuit.
Yeah.
You know what? In the 1970s, they didn't have food stamps. You know what they did? All of that excess food that they had, that the government bought. Remember canned peanut butter, powdered eggs, powdered milk?
The block cheese.
The block cheese, all of that. That's what they had instead of food stamps.
That's right.
Maybe we go back to that. Maybe we go back to canned beef. Maybe we go back to canned pork. Maybe we go back to block cheese. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. You won't be able to buy your frickin' chips. You
Yeah,
won't be
but
able
we've
to buy
lost.
a Snickers bar without your food stamps. Well, guess what? Some states are saying you can't buy that anyway. And you want to sue those states because they're taking away your rights to have potato chips.
Yeah, it's your right to free shit, and that's the
Yeah.
key. The key is that we've changed as a nation because of this, because we've brainwashed half of these people to think they're entitled to this stuff. I'll never forget. You know, I love boxing, and uh, there was a great movie about the Depression and a boxer during the Depression who basically lost everything he had. They shut off his electricity, shut everything. He had hurt his hand and he couldn't fight. There was no welfare system, and he lost everything. And he had to go to the welfare and get a loan to even. And he actually had to send his children to his parents, and then he came back, and his name was Jimmy Braddock, and he got better, healed up, and fought Max Baer, and they thought he was going to be murdered, and he beat Max Baer for the heavyweight championship of the world. And you know what the first thing he did was? The two parts of that movie that were really great because it was about depression and having nothing, and the difference in Americans then and Americans today, this younger generation. First thing he did was go back to the welfare department and pay him back every penny they gave him. He stood in the line, walked up to the clerk at the welfare department, and counted out the money that they handed him. And earlier in the movie, when they didn't have any money, and his son stole something from a meat market, he marched his son back to the meat market, had him give it back to the owner, and said, "No matter how bad it gets, we never steal." That was America. That's why we won World War II. These are the people that grew up through the Depression and learned about adversity and sucked it up and got through it. And when they went to war, they won a world war. Today, no freaking way we could win a war like that with the clowns we got today. We got a good military, but that's a very small part. But that was a world war. We needed a draft, and they drafted people, and they went to war, and they fought. Why? Because they were different. I don't care what anybody says. They were completely different people. They had a moral compass. They learned about you got to earn your way in this lifetime. And now we got a society of give me free shit, and you can steal everything you want. But just give me my free shit, and I'm going to keep my mouth shut and keep voting for you. And that's why we got the problems we got today. And that's my opinion. So that's the way it is. We'll close the year on that note because I truly feel that. There were different kinds of people. My mother and father grew up during the Depression. They knew what it was. My father fought in World War II, fought in the Battle of the Bulge. His entire family did. On both sides. Everybody in my family, on both sides, served in World War II except the one male that had leukemia and couldn't go into the military. They were a different breed, believe me. They were a much different breed. Today we got them on there crying because, like you said, they're going to file a lawsuit because they're not getting, they're not getting SNAP benefits or some shit. Oh, I'm entitled to this. You're not entitled to shit. You know you're entitled to? You're entitled to be born and die. That's your entitlement. Everything in between should be up to you. These people are always looking for a handout. That's why the Democratic Party disgusts me now. Because it's all about, give this one give this one. Tim Walz is funding. They don't care how much abuse there is. They don't care.
James has it right. We need more than two parties. Okay, we need more than the Democrats and the Republicans. He said this earlier. We
Yeah.
need more than the Democrats and the Republicans.
Oh,
We
no,
need the House of Commons.
Yeah.
You and I love the House of Commons.
Oh, I love it. Yep.
Okay, that's where things get done. Okay, and Carlos Caesar said it to me very well the other day. He said, "Do you know that the majority of the Portuguese legislature are socialists?" I said, "Yeah, but socialism doesn't work." He says, "No, they're part of the Socialist Party, but they don't practice socialism." He says, "Except in healthcare." I said, "Well, that's true."
Yeah.
And that seems to be working for Portugal.
Yeah. No. I love we love. You and I both love the House of Commons. But
Oh, yeah, no question
it's
about
really
it.
funny. One of the best ones I've seen in the last month was they showed a video clip of a hair pulling contest between two women in the Mexican government. I like that. They went crazy. They yelling at each other. They started pulling hair.
That's it.
Everything else. But listen, this is the problem. We've become, and James is right. They're still sending aid to Ukraine, and that little thug over there. There's hundreds of billions of dollars missing, and
Yes,
I can
there
tell
is.
you where
We
they're
don't
in.
audit them.
They'll never audit them. They'll never
Nope.
find the money, and they're still giving money to that little thug. He doesn't want that war to stop. He showed his true colors a while back when he tried to give Trump some lip at that public meeting, and Trump slapped him down.
I think that was February, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then he got cocky, and then he slapped him down. Then he realized he's got to keep his mouth shut.
That's
this
right.
is the problem. You're right, James. Both of these parties, they're going to give him money.
That's right.
Shit now. Tell them, you want to stop the war, sign a paper, then we might give you some money to rebuild your country. Well, you already got about, nearly $1 trillion missing.
And the thing is, okay, we've been supporting Israel since its foundation in the 1940s. Okay, Israel is a new country. It's a relatively new country. The people of Israel have been around for thousands of years. But as a country, that only was formed and accepted in the 1940s.
48.
48, okay? So they're a relatively new country. And we've been supporting them ever since. They seem to be able to stand on their own when they want to. Notice the key phrase there, when they want to. We keep sending them money. We keep sending them weapons. We keep sending them jets. But we don't get anything in return. And the minute the president says, well, maybe we should take over the Gaza Strip. Ah! Screams, pulling of hair, gnashing of teeth. Well, you expect something? Let me tell you something. Every other country in this world, when they've gone to war, they take the land, they take the property, just like Russia's trying to do to Ukraine. They take the land, they take the property, they take the assets. The United States bombed Japan, took them over, rebuilt them, and said, here, you just can't have a Navy. We'll be your Navy. You can have a Coast Guard, but you can't have a Navy.
Yeah, they bombed Pearl Harbor. But I think Israel's a different story because Israel obviously fights its own battles most of the time in wars, not unlike Ukraine. Israel is always an ally with us. They need, I understand why they want control over Gaza because they're surrounded by people who want to kill them. It's a different story. Ukraine's a completely different. That guy is a communist. They got Nazis in their Congress in Ukraine.
Oh yes.
They have Nazis.
About it.
He closed the churches down in Ukraine. He stopped the elections. Talk about an authoritarian, a dictator. He's a little freaking thug.
Yep.
And they treat him like royalty.
I know.
Because you know why? They're all making money with the arms they send. They're sending
That's
arms
right.
everywhere because they're all making money like Cheney did.
The
Who the hell
industrial
you think
war
controls
complex.
the arms industry in the world? The
The
United
industrial
States.
war complex.
Did you ever see that movie? I forgot the name of it. Now there were two of them. One of them had one of them, but it was about. There were two movies made of an arms dealer, but at the end they caught the guy. I think it was Nicolas Cage, the one with Nicolas Cage in it. And at the end, they caught him selling arms to all these places illegally, and they brought him down to a black site. And he was in the room being interrogated, and he told the interrogator, he said, listen, he said, you're not going to do anything to me. He said, in a little while, somebody's going to walk into this room and tell you to let me go. And you're going to have to. And he said, and he laughed. And then about 2 minutes later, there was a knock on the door. Guy called him out in the hallway, and they let him go. You know why? Because at the end of the movie, they told the real story. The biggest arms dealer in the world is the United States of America. And they kept him in business because there are countries that the United States will not sell arms to directly. And he was the intermediary for them to sell arms to countries that we're not supposed to be selling arms to because we have things. And that's the thing. And that is a fact. They sell arms to everybody. They're giving arms to him because the rich people are getting richer in the United States. The United States is the #1 arms dealer in the world. Yeah, no, you're right.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's reverse. No, but no, James, reverse discrimination is okay for Democrats. When Harvard banned Oriental students because they were too smart, that's the height of DEI. But they don't look at that as discrimination. They look at it as equity. So people are too smart to go to a college. Well, that's pretty bad, especially a prestigious college. You know, that's the problem. They disagree with anything that hurts their agenda. Their agenda is full of crap. But you know, yeah, they excluded Asians because Harvard bottomed for a while. They reduced their admissions to virtually nothing because they, you know, if they were admitting them on merit, there would be too many Asians. So, I mean, that's the hypocrisy of these people. Listen, nothing they say, they all have an agenda. Republican, and you're right. We need a third party, a fourth party, a fifth party.
I would agree with that one 100%.
Because this country is run, you know, this is a uniparty. They pretend they have a lot of differences, but what they have in common is their corruptness and the fact that they all get rich.
In Massachusetts, it is a uniparty.
Well, we have a
Democratic Party. Because I'll tell you, the 12 Republicans they have in the House are useless.
Yeah.
They can't do anything because the Democrats don't let them. So they're there as tokens. So Steve Howard from Seekonk, you're a token. You're a token. Because you know you can't do anything. And as a matter of fact, because you're in the minority, you can't become a chair, which means you lose money. Because the chairs get paid more money.
That's right.
So because you can't be chair, because you're not part of the prevailing party, you're screwed.
And another discriminatory policy. Why don't
That's
they
right.
change the rule to say that the chairs are based on seniority? Mm-hmm. So if you've been up there for 30 years and you're a Republican, you should be the chair of something. But no.
You're not.
But everything they do is discriminatory, and they're always complaining. It's a joke. I
That's
mean,
right.
listen,
That's right.
politics is a joke because the people allow it to remain a joke because we don't, there has to be a mass movement of getting all these people out of, and you'll never see it, I don't think, ever.
No, no, that's true. Well, I want to wish you all a very happy new year. Please remember, drive safe. There's going to be snow tonight. The roads are going to be slick after midnight. And please, don't drink and drive. South Coast Towing is offering you a free ride home and to tow your vehicle to your home as well. So please, you have no excuse. Uber it, South Coast Towing, don't drink and drive because that is a crime all in of itself, morally. I'm not talking about legally. Thanks for watching. Happy New Year, and we'll see you in 2026.
Be
Have a
safe
great day.
and happy.